32?
33?
33? 33. Yes, 33. Okay. Shun
Shun.
and
On
Shun.
Shun.
All right, listeners, guess what?
What?
It's episode 33
No
of What
way.
You Say. What is it?
What?
Episode 33 of
Where am I?
Millennial Mom Thoughts.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
It was so different from our normal, but that's all right. And you know what I am
just
going to
never
start
know.
doing?
What are you
I'm
going to
going to
start
start
doing?
saying, I'm Jordan.
I'm Helen.
That way people know who we are. I don't know. I just was thinking about that. I read, I don't even know where I read it, but someone was like, "Do you always introduce yourself?" Because if you think about it, not everyone is listening in order. They may
Yeah.
come at an episode because we have a guest,
Hmm.
and it's like I want to listen to that guest. Well, who the heck are the people talking? I don't know. So now you
No,
know. So,
100%.
people, I mentioned we have a guest. Guess what? Already had her on. Guess what? It was an awesome episode.
Guess what?
So,
It's late at night, so Jordan is
so Jordan's lost her
clearly
mind.
a little bit
And
loopy.
she traveled this weekend. It was in the car for like 97 hours, it feels like.
And we'll get
So
all sorts of updates on that fun and exciting
yes,
trip
next
next
week.
week for your
Next
special
week.
birthday episode. But for now,
Yikes. For now,
get pumped.
enjoy. Get ready for, be excited for a really fantastic discussion with Jill Anderson. It was a wonderful, wonderful conversation, and we already know that you're gonna love it. So listen, love it, go.
Delight in it. Go.
Well, we are excited to welcome Jill Anderson, a mom, teacher, advocate, and founder of Mindful Tech Lessons. Jill lives in New York, has a master's degree in educational psychology, and has been advocating for keeping smartphones and social media out of childhood, as well as using technology more intentionally in schools.
Jill was recently featured in a New York Times article titled iPads in Kindergarten, YouTube on Breaks, the School Screen Time Battle, and is leading workshops in her community for parents about how to navigate a digital world. Last month, Jill was invited to testify as a witness before the Vermont House Commerce Committee regarding proposed legislation on regulating edtech products in schools.
Well, so officially, welcome, Jill.
Thank you so much.
It's so good to
Thank
have
you.
you. Thanks for agreeing to come on and talk with us.
Absolutely. It's my favorite topic. Believe it or not, I do talk about some other things in life, but mostly this. No.
Do we? Do we even talk about other things? Well, we can get into that. Well, we got connected thanks to the WhatsApp group from Smartphone Free Childhood,
Yes, wonderful
US.
group.
And oh my gosh, I sometimes I have to remind myself like you don't have to check every single message every day because there's just so much that comes through that's great. But I had messaged you after you had shared some things about mindful tech lessons, and we'll get more into that in a little bit. And then some other, community initiatives that you do. But what I first wanted to ask, and we kind of ask everyone this, is like, what was your journey to where you are now? Like you're a teacher, and remind me what grade you teach.
I
Third?
currently teach third grade,
Okay.
and I've taught early childhood all the way to sixth grade in my career.
Okay. So yeah, so like when you started or what made you want to be a teacher and then kind of that path to leading
Yeah.
to now, mindful tech lessons while also being an educator.
Yeah, so I basically have always loved teaching and theater. Were
Mhm.
my first two loves. And teaching is a lot of theater, which is wonderful. And one thing that I'm not good at is the competitiveness of theater. And I remember when I started trying out, I just wanted to be friends with everyone auditioning, and I didn't really, my favorite part of being in theater was how close you get with your cast members, and there's like this special bond to work so hard together collaboratively, and all the pieces that might not even be on stage, like, the stage crew and the costumes and the makeup, and I just always really loved it. And one of the things that I've really discovered about teaching is that it's a lot of acting. And I have this little audience every day, and and I've always been embarrassed with whoever is the classroom next to me until they know me, and I say, look, if you start hearing dancing, singing, accents, like that's just me. And people just know that about me. And I've loved teaching, but I've always sort of had a lens on these topics. And when I have a research-based master's thesis, and I started to notice a change in kids. Now, mind you, this is over 20 years ago,
Hmm.
but I started to see a decline in outdoor play with an increase in video gaming. And back
Yeah.
then, the story was really just the concern over violence in video games. And, we've learned a lot from all that research, and we've learned a lot about healthier ways to game. And I feel like it was kind of known, avoid very violent video games. And that was basically my research, was just how are elementary students choosing to spend their time outside of school. And I wanted to explore that. And it was funny because kids are still kids. They don't change, they push boundaries. And I had some kids during this process tell me, I hide the video games under my bed, and my mom doesn't know to look there. And then another
Oh
kid would
no.
say, you never hide under the bed. That's where they always look. And they were just so honest. And oh, well, if you go to this person's house, their older brother or older sister has this. So kids are intended to push boundaries.
Right.
And that's normal. And I just think that perhaps the stakes, if it was sneaking, and I did this with my brother, our parents were asleep. Okay, let's go play some more Super Nintendo because that's what it was for us. And so these behaviors are normal. It's just there's a lot more at stake now with
Yeah.
video gaming, having all these online chat features, and the fact that there's user generated content, and the fact that it doesn't end, right? Like you would beat Bowser and that was it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
now these worlds don't end. So I've always really focused on this. But then I became a teacher, and I love teaching, and I want to do everything I can to improve things for my students. And to say that I embrace technology as a teacher is an understatement. Like I would sign up for every tech workshop I could, and I would use platforms that don't even exist anymore. Oh my gosh, there were so many. And I would just think it was the craziest and most amazing thing. And then 2 years later, it's gone. I would do PDs on how to use this technology. And then I had my first child in 2016, and I was very, very careful with screens with my child. Like I
Yeah.
remember when you first have that little newborn baby and you're exhausted and you kind of just like enjoy sitting on the couch watching TV and they're asleep the whole time. But as soon as he was awake enough to see a TV, we would turn his, the little bouncer seat
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
stop like letting him even look at screens. And we were really, really careful when we did allow TV. It was all of the things that we're being told, right? Like we would watch it together. It would be more purposeful, not as much of the flashing. And we were just really careful. And one of the things, I have a very active child, is I started to read a lot about the correlation between certain behaviors and a lot of screen time, and I got nervous. So we were really careful. Now, because I'm a teacher, I was like, 5. You shouldn't have any sort of a device until 5, because 5 is when you start kindergarten. Now, I'll be honest,
Right.
in my state, you can start at 4, which I don't, that's a whole nother story I don't agree with. So I waited and held both my children to start at 5, like the rest of the country. And so I got my first an iPad, and only educational apps, only the things that we used as a teacher. And then when he started school, I was then able to see a totally different set of education apps that the
Mhm.
school uses. And what I started to see was a change in his behavior, and almost the kind of thing that you might not be able to see as a teacher when you're not with that child 24/7, right? And
Right.
the obsession with it, and wanting to play more, and sort of it becoming this gateway to more gaming and not really wanting to do anything else. So I made a big shift in getting that out of our household. But throughout the years, like first I become a parent and I'm questioning screen time at home. So it kind of started to shift how I taught. Then I see, oh, even the educational apps, like I thought there was this huge difference if it was educational. I just
Right.
thought that it
Right.
was so different. And then I started to see, I don't actually think it's so different, because what is he doing on any of those apps that we couldn't do in another way? And
Hmm.
I haven't found that yet, other than, of course, skills that are specific to technology, like learning to type. I mean, my husband works in technology, and he actually made his computer with my son, and that was awesome. They made the computer.
Wow.
Hmm.
And I had no idea you could even do that. And so I, of course, am not against technology. I'm just very careful. And being that I do have a spouse who works in the field and he feels the same way, I think that's very telling, right? So I've been very active in this field for a while. I brought Wait Until Eighth to the community where I teach. I've been a part of that movement where I live. And then I've been asked to do panel discussions on all these different topics. And the anxious generation is really what changed things for me because
Yeah.
it put everything together. It was all this great research. It was his four norms, which I'll be honest, I actually have my own version of his norms, but I really respect the work in the book. But I thought this doesn't tell parents how to do this.
Hmm.
Like it's really easy to say, no, social media till this age, no smartphone to this age, no school, but how? And how do you really do this? And so I asked my principal if I could do a workshop like that I created held like a teacher. So it's in small group and it's collaboration and there's prizes and it's hands-on and it's interactive. And it was a hit. And I realized that I love this work and that I love my students, but I can only impact 20 students at a time. And when I do a workshop and there's all these parents and they each have, let's say, an average of two kids, then I can impact all those children. Or if I do a teacher
Right.
workshop and they start to change the way they teach a little bit in all their classrooms. So it really, really became a passion. And I have no plans to leave teaching. I love it. I used to joke that they were going to have to like drag me out like in a wheelchair and and red rollers. And now I'm like, okay, I might actually leave when I can retire, but I have no plans to leave anytime soon. And it really is
Yeah.
what makes, I think, me know so much more about the work because I see the kids
Yeah.
like every day other than my own kids. So, and then the goal when I do these workshops is to get people to join or start their own collective. And let's not forget, I am a mom and I have two kids. So I did. I started a community collective where I live at the motivation, obviously, of a community member who went to the workshop. He was like, "You should do this." And I said, "I don't know." And he's like, "No, you really should because that's got to be the goal, is that's how we all do this together." And so he motivated me to start, and now I do it professionally and I do it personally.
Mm. So was it originally geared towards parents or teachers or both or like how did
So
you?
originally it was geared towards parents,
Okay.
and I do workshops really just helping parents out. But what I realized is problems have more than one solution and more than
Mm.
one areas you need to work on. And I was like, if parents are improving and working on some of these issues, we also need to as teachers. And
Yeah.
I'll be the first to say, I have dramatically shifted my practices. And it's not teachers' fault. We all know
Hmm.
everybody wants what's best for kids.
Right.
But COVID drastically pushed everyone into this world where you had no choice. You had to do everything on online. And if you were really tech savvy, maybe it was a little easier, but you didn't use it that much. And now, boom, you're thrown into it. If you didn't use that stuff at all, you had to. And then you have some really great marketing. And these products come and they
Yeah.
tell us how wonderful they are and how we're going to be able to reach all these groups of kids and all these learners. And it's exciting to think that you can do more with your students. And so I realized that I think we all have a role to play. And when I started to have a lens on it, I started to realize there's so many things I don't even think we realize. Like you might do a worksheet with an early childhood class, and you might see that to learn the app sound, they show like an iPhone with an app. Now, there's
Mhm.
probably another way to show that sound, but like,
Yeah.
so you start to see the subtle messaging.
Mhm.
Maybe
Yeah.
you find a really cool activity, but the theme of it is Roblox. And
Oh,
you might
yeah.
think, oh, that's a great way to connect with my kids. And I used to think that. But now I have made a commitment to anytime I find a way to connect, it's going to be through real world activities. So it
Wow.
will be through sports and music. And I'm just very careful now. Like there was this adorable activity I found online where you get to know each other by making a pretend crock and the kids pick the charms. And what I did was I looked at it, but one of the questions was, and this is intended for early elementary, right? What's your favorite social media platform? And
What?
so I emailed the website and I said, I just want to let you
What?
know that children under 13 are actually it's illegal for them to be on social media and these products like,
Right.
and I don't blame the creator. Like you don't think that way if maybe if you're not a parent or,
Yeah.
and it's interesting because we talk a lot about Section 230 when it comes to social media trial. But guess what? These platforms are also protected because they can't like police the content that is put on their site. And
Hmm.
I was really astonished. So I reached out to the creator, who couldn't have been more wonderful. And she said,
Oh,
you know
good.
what? I'll make you another version. Now, I do wish she took down the other
I was
version,
gonna
but
say, could you replace the original version? Don't
and
make it
she,
available.
yes, she made me a version where there was no social media question. But it
Okay.
made me realize that, like, and it's so easy to just, if you're not being mindful, pun intended, right? To
Yeah.
like be act like, and I think about my family where we don't game at all anymore because we learned it was not a good fit for us. So think of your students that don't have those things in their lives, or maybe they had it, but it was taken away because the parents did what was best of them. And so I just try to think like in a different mindset now. Like, what can I portray that is a better real world skill? Art, music, and it's really everywhere. And if you start focusing, you'll see it. I do teacher workshops now, and people will bring up, oh, I saw this resource that did this, or I saw that. So it's just something like we want to really lift up what we think is best for our kids. And that's
Yeah.
not to make anyone feel bad about a certain video game or something, but what can we do to help all around with our students. So I now do teacher workshops, and it's really really rewarding because they get so excited to use these strategies with their classes. I just did a workshop 2 weeks ago in Manhattan, and their principal was there, and I showed a couple of the tools that I use, and they looked at the principal. One of my favorite things is the Yodo.
Oh,
Do you?
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I
We don't
love
have the Yoda. We have oh my gosh, what's the other one?
Is it
the
the
Tony.
tone?
Thank you, Tony.
Yeah.
I was
The
like, what
Tony,
is
yes.
yeah, but I love all of them. They're great.
And she was like, sure, I'll get one for every class. And the teachers were so
Wow.
excited. And I was like,
Wow.
so, because I use a different set of cards in my classroom than my children use at home. There's
Okay.
mindfulness cards that I don't work for Yodo. I just really like the product. I should say I don't work for any tech company. I only work for
Sponsored
myself.
by no.
Um, and I have like a mindfulness card. So we'll put it in and we'll just sit quietly. And one of the reasons why I call it mindful tech lessons is because mindfulness actually restores parts of the brain that can be damaged from excessive screen time.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So I want us to use mindfulness to repair, but I also want us to be mindful moving forward. Because it's about, it's a constant evolution, and everybody has a place to grow in this process, no matter who you are, like as an
Yeah.
individual, as a mom, as a teacher, as a parent, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do is just like give little ideas, and if any of these fit for you and work, good.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Oh, I love that. I'm so fascinated just hearing you kind of share your story and talk through the work that you're doing now. And I actually had a question on that idea of mindfulness. As someone who you seem like you wear a lot of hats, and I I resonate a lot with that. I'm a former high school English teacher. I have a PhD in English studies. I now work with future teachers in the higher ed space, and the thing I really emphasize for them is criticality and mindfulness around
Yes.
technology. That just because you could use it doesn't mean you should or need to, just getting them
Yeah.
to ask those kinds of questions early. But I guess, on that idea of mindfulness, I know you have a background in education psychology. And so I'm curious, what I guess the question is what mindfulness really looks like in your day-to-day life personally as you're
Yeah.
juggling these different roles as a teacher, but also then leading these workshops and cultivating these communities.
Yes, I am actually not very good at mindfulness personally. I will be honest. And so one of the things that I think is important is to tap into those around us that are good at things. So every year I have an incredible class of children who have incredible parents. And this year one of the parents is a yoga teacher. And she is amazing. And I invited her to come in, and she taught our whole class. Like, we moved all the desks and she taught us a whole bunch of yoga poses. And she made these incredible yoga cards that a copy for every set for the kids that she designed herself, and explained how to do these like calming strategies and breaths. So now we incorporate that. And I'm actually my March newsletter, which hasn't come out yet, is going to be a mindful theme, and I'm going to include the cards that she made, and they're wonderful. So one of
That's
the things I
awesome.
try to do is use the people around me for the strengths I don't have.
Mhm.
So also, I am not a good cook. Not gonna like it, not into it. But guess what? I have amazing friends and a husband who love to cook. So I feel like we need to do a better job of all like balancing each other out. And in this
Mhm.
work, I may be focusing on my expertise and what I'm great at, but there's so many things I'm not. So when we get together with friends, like they might be in charge of like I'll be in charge of the kids' activities because that's my passion. One's in charge of the cooking, one's not. So I have those friends that kind of when I'm upset or when I need to like focus on me, they sort of help me get there.
Mm.
And I would like to get better at this. I'm not, but here's where I am good. I focus on it for my students, which then in turn makes me do it because I practice with them. So there are times when I tell myself this is for my students, but we're really all benefiting.
Mm. Hmm.
And I've gotten like you can go to great teacher stores and I have this huge like chart that's a flip and it's like one big image and on the other side is the directions for how of what the teacher says. So
Mm.
sometimes I'll do that where I can't be as involved, but with the Yodo cards, like I close my eyes and I do it with them. So I think it's a balancing act and we all have different strengths and weaknesses and I would like to be better at it, but my mind goes a million miles an hour. It's hard,
There's a
right?
lot going on.
Yes.
Yes.
Um, could you share more about just like what you include in your, and we'll link to for people to sign up if they want to get your
Oh,
email
yes.
mindful tech lessons. Can you talk about like what you put in them and kind of the work
Yeah.
that goes into that? Like,
So,
I know you're a
yeah,
one man show, so like
yes.
how do you put that all together and
I
figure out what you're going to put
I
out month
love
to month?
books and I would do anything to get kids back into reading books and families to read together. So I know that every month I try to pick a collection of books around a theme. And so February, what was my theme for February? Do you remember?
Oh, I
Trying
just
to think.
looked at
I
it.
did read it. I did look at
I
it.
know now I'm forgetting. I know March is mindfulness. I and so
Oh, was it
every
Focus?
oh
Focus
art. It was
February?
art. Yes,
Focus?
it was
Yeah.
art. Oh, the books
Yeah.
are so good with the arts.
Yeah.
I just love. I try to find like books. Some are very well known, some are old, some are new, and I try to have like four books from early childhood all the way to an adult.
Hmm.
The adult book is usually in like a book that you can listen to because I know how busy parents are. And I try to like make sure that every month you can like add that to your either buy it or take it out from a library and listen to books around that theme. There is usually some sort of a tech focus in a way, but not always, right? It's and so each month I try to have like an unplug and play activity that you could do with your family. I try to spotlight something happening in the world or in news. Like I showcase like the Can't Look Away showings, like a lot of, and I know Jordan, you have done a lot of that where you
Mhm.
show that film. It's so powerful, and I just like to give little ideas of things that communities are doing or could do. It's easy to say, oh, this podcast is great, listen to it. I try to pick a specific episode
Mm.
from like a favorite podcast. Like, okay, you might be busy, but this episode's really good and it goes with the theme. I really find so much amazing content. And then I interview experts and that I realize that I have too much for a monthly newsletter. So my goal is to write a book and expand upon the
Wow.
newsletter themes. And with the real link being community, because a lot of the stuff I learn are from people that are all around me. And so my goal is to just give parents little tips and suggestions and just plant seeds for ideas because there's so many great ideas out there and I think I'm like a professional curator of resources because these are not my ideas, all of them.
Yeah.
They're not all my things. I want to show everyone how many people work in this space, how many great books exist, how many great podcasts. There are a lot of people that are doing amazing work, and a high tide rises all ships. You know, someone said that to me once, and it has really resonated with me.
Hmm.
We're all here for our kids, our society, our culture, and so I want to introduce everyone to all the things, but in like a nice little manageable packaged way. And for my workshops, everybody leaves with a physical resource folder with materials and a pause and play kit to try out
I love
with
that.
your kids because I just really believe in like an actual resource that you can start that moment
Mm.
because I have gone to workshops where I leave and I'm like I just gave them all this time and I didn't really learn anything and I
Mm.
never want anyone to feel that way and I don't want people to feel there is a scared straight type of workshop that is not me. I'm
Yeah.
going to focus on look, we know the research, we know that there's some dark stuff here, but this is how we can do this together. And since I did start my community collective, we've done incredible things in my community to help. Like I think the book boxes is your favorite, right?
Yeah, yeah, which I want to talk about because I mean, you inspired me to, and it's due this week, so I have a little more work to do. But my community has a foundation, or a community foundation offers grants to, schools and local nonprofits and organizations that want to apply for money to do certain things. And so I partnered with our library since I'm just one person. I'm not like I don't have all the tax ID information stuff. So I
Yeah.
partnered with the
Oh,
library, like, can you help me out with this part? Um, and I also started a Wait Until Eighth in my community. So I'm gonna
yeah.
say, in partnership with the Morton Public Library and Morton Wait Until Eighth and then Morton Community Foundation, putting together these like activity bins that,
Yes.
where families go and there's a space that's waiting, like as and hopefully inspires non-screen play. And so
Yes.
just a various array of, fidget kind of things or puzzles or some cards. And actually, I don't even know if I told you this, Helen. And I won't because it's not finalized yet. Hopefully the grant gets approved. I think it's pretty cool. So my fingers are crossed it'll get approved. But there's a local business here in town that has a lot of those like one of the like Fat Brain toys, which
Mm.
is that
Yes.
real
Yes.
popular
Oh, those
brand.
are great.
Yeah, and they're pretty, they're nice and durable too, which is another reason I chose a lot
Yes.
of them. But she carries a bunch of those in her store. And so I went into her store and said, because she had agreed to host one of the boxes. And I thought, as I'm making my list, I'm going on Amazon and I'm like, well, she's not going to want stuff in her store that, like, you can't buy at her store. Duh. So I said, how about I find all the things that go in the activity bin from your business and I buy them from your business. So
Oh,
it's
that's
also a way
wonderful.
to, promote her
Yes.
business to the community. So it's another community link. So I'm also hoping that's like another good sell for the
Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
that's
No, that
practicing
and
what you preach.
they'd be
yeah.
housed at the library and then people take them out or they use them when they're at the library.
So they'll actually be in local businesses.
Oh, okay,
My
great.
plan is for them to expand so that like any place in town you go, like that families would go with kids, there's an activity bin. So
I
you
love
don't
it.
have to bring it with you in case you forget. So I'm starting small. Five places have agreed to host them, but I'd like
Yeah.
over time to be like, oh, we want one of those. Like, oh, that's
Yes.
neat. We want one of those. So we'll see. Fingers crossed. But you were, seeing your book boxes, so I want to talk about that
Yeah.
process and what's in them. And you do a really cool thing where kids get to contribute to
Yes.
the book boxes in a neat way. So can you talk about
Yes.
what the book
I,
boxes are
yeah.
and how that whole thing got
Well, it's
started?
funny. I just got a text from a friend today who said, we weren't planning to go out to dinner and we unexpectedly went and I didn't have anything for the kids to do because we didn't expect to. And I was really not looking forward to it with two young kids. And we got there and the book box was there and it was
Oh,
wonderful. And then they
awesome.
didn't even want to leave because they loved the books. And I thought, yes,
It's
because that
working.
like it happens. So
Yeah.
so as a teacher, we have lots of Xerox paper in our building and lots of empty boxes that just get thrown out. And so I decided that for anyone who didn't have their own box, I would just grab them before they got tossed or recycled. And some people supplied their own. And what I did was anybody in the community, you didn't even have to be a part of our community collective. Anybody who wants to do a project of decorating these boxes could. We had little cute preschoolers doing little doodles to, really, really sophisticated middle school students that like creative art. Some people have wrapped them with brown paper and then printed things that they've colored and cut. Some people have painted, spray painted. I mean, I can't even tell you how
Wow.
creative everyone is. After school programs, Girl Scouts, daycares, anyone who wanted to decorate a box could. And then what I did was I requested donations, and I'm calling it from toddlers to teens because I want there to be like a wide
Mm.
variety of reading materials. And so a lot of people used it as an opportunity to clean out books that they no
Mhm.
longer use, or people were like, "Oh, I've had this box sitting here forever," and they would do. So all I did was I just put a big plastic bin on my front stoop, and I had two other moms that helped me, and they would do picking up, or if someone wanted to drop off at my house, they would. And then we had a night, my entire basement was just filled with books where we started to just sort of organize them like, board books, picture books, easy chapter books all the
Hmm.
way the gamut, and then started stuffing the boxes. And we are at 42 businesses right now, which is
Wow.
incredible. And my goal is to get to 50 businesses by like our 1 year anniversary, which of our collective, which will be this summer. And one part of the box has just like a sign that says like our collective's name and enjoy a good read. And it's funny because I said this and now pennies don't exist anymore, but take a
I
penny, leave
know.
a penny.
Yeah.
I'm so old that we used to make pennies. No,
I
but
know.
and the stores say that first of all, the local businesses have been incredible. Okay, so supportive of this.
Wow.
Some of them have brought their own children's books that their kids are adults now and they haven't, used.
Yeah.
And I've made it clear, if you don't like a book that's in the bin, take it out. That's fine. This is only about like giving resources and materials to families. And what's very exciting is kids are so happy to see their book box.
Mm.
Like
Oh,
it
I
is a
bet.
big deal. Like, where's your box? Mine's at the ice cream shop. Mine's at the coffee shop.
Oh, that's
And
so cool.
it's so fun. So we randomly went out to dinner, and I actually forgot that my own kid's box was at this one restaurant. And my daughter walked in, and she's like, "That's my box!" And there were these really nice young men sitting at the bar, like at the entrance, and they were like, "You did that? That's really nice." And she was like
Oh my
lighting up,
gosh.
and it was so cute. And so it's mostly books, but I also encourage, like, you have those coloring books that are half used and your kid's not going to
Mhm.
color anymore. Stick those in. I do a little Ziploc bag of crayons in each box too. So
Wow.
activity books, we're finding that like Mad Libs is a hit.
Mm.
Like people like
Oh,
haven't used Mad Libs in so
yeah.
long, and their kids are like, and it's teaching them, of course, parts of speech, right? So word
Yeah.
searches, Sudoku, like any of those. And what's really neat is I tell the stores, look, if somebody leaves with the book, that's great. Because there's like Harry Potter's in
Okay.
some of these boxes. If
Yeah.
they're finding a book that they love and they want to take it with them, fine. It's like a library where you can take the book. One dad said she loves the book so much. I said she can keep it. Then one day when she finds a book
Mm.
at home that she's done with, she can deposit it. And so it's really neat that like some people want to just read the book while they're there, put it back. Some want to take it with them. And then this is like the best part. I'm a big believer in community service. I've been volunteering since I was young, but it's very hard to find volunteer opportunities for younger kids.
Mm.
So we are letting kids get volunteer hours to visit all the boxes, tidy them up, replenish them. And so
Wow.
it's really a beautiful thing. Like the whole community is involved, like whether they're making the box, donating, or replenishing it. And it really has gotten a lot of great feedback. And I would love for this to spread because it's really easy. And it's places where you tend to wait. So we started with
Mm.
restaurants and hair cutting places, but now like we even are doing realtor offices.
Mm.
How cool when people visit our town to look for a house when they see like this great
Yes.
community project, you know?
Yeah.
Oh man, I didn't realize how involved. I mean, that involves so many people in the community. That is
It's really cool.
that is really
Like
cool.
I've had like a librarian say, "Oh, we have extra books from the book sale. Would you want them?" I'm like, "Yes." So people call
Yes.
me the book lady.
I bet. Yeah.
That is
Well, you're
Which is
you're like
fun.
little free libraries all over your town,
Yes.
basically. Yeah.
Exactly. And I love those. It's just they tend to be outside, right? So if
Yeah.
you're in
Yeah.
yeah.
and there is this sense of panic when you need something to occupy your child. If you don't have something like
Yeah.
maybe you just got the car washed and there it wasn't in there or it's just so easy to not have something or forget, even for parents that always try to bring something and
Yes.
remember there's something to be said for novelty. So
Hmm.
they're excited
Right.
to see what's
Right.
in the box and and it really has been effective and I just love like we even got like the bank, Chase Bank said that they would host one. Like it really the community's been so incredible. We like it wasn't even just like the small little shops, you know?
Yeah. Oh
So
man.
it's really fun. The only thing that slowed us down is we needed more people to make more boxes.
Yeah, really. Oh
Amazing.
man.
Yeah.
Just a quick question. How big is your community? What
Oh my
is this?
gosh, I want to say we're like 8,000 people. We're not
Oh,
really that
okay.
big. Yeah, it's a pretty
Yeah.
Okay.
small
Yeah.
town.
That's like half
Yeah.
the
Um,
size of, I mean, Technically, I
Yeah.
Yeah,
don't
we're
live
like,
in in
I mean,
Morton,
you
but
do.
I
You
but
grew up
yeah.
in Morton.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
it's like
we're on the
77
Hudson River.
minutes.
It's
Okay.
beautiful, like outside of New York City, and it's really special little town. Like I that is probably my favorite thing about this town is that like everyone is just so ready and willing to do whatever they can for the community, and it's really beautiful.
Hmm, I
That
love
is,
that.
man, now you're giving me another thing on my
Next year,
list
Jordan.
I
Next
want to
year.
do. I know, I gotta wait. I gotta wait. I need to hit pause for just a little
Oh,
bit.
oh, you don't want to know what our next idea is.
Yes, yes,
We
I
haven't
do.
started. We want to make a phone book for every member in our collective and have all the landlines of like the kids
Yeah,
and have it like be class of whatever, that way if their grade changes and basically when you join, like you would get this like now I don't know how we're doing this yet. This is like but we're like, wouldn't that be great? Because we really are a big believer in returning like the home phone. And I say that all
yeah,
the time. Like home phones are the best. Like your kid will be on the phone, they'll leave you alone. It's safe. There's no drama with like group chats
right,
and
right.
so we were like, wouldn't it be cute if we had our own little phone book? You join, you get it, and maybe every September we have like an updated one if there's new members, and then the kids can learn like ABC order or however we want to do
Yeah,
this. So we're planning to have a little map in it of the town and have like a little symbol on homes of like houses where you can just knock on the door and say like want to play and like we'd have a sign on the door that like available for playing or not so like just help foster walking around the community and so it's really we have like a lot of great ideas. It's just a matter of getting them all executed.
yeah. I love that. And I just recently saw it and had shared in my Wait Until Eighth group, like the tin can phone. Like there was
Yes.
some community that they bought a whole bunch of them, like
Yes.
hundreds of them or something,
Yep.
and so that every kid could have one so that they could call.
Yes, because
And
I think
I
when you
think
have tin
it's
cans, it's just like a four-number pin or something that
yeah,
you
I think it's over
yeah.
Wi-Fi, but it's not like
Yes,
it's not a
most of
smartphone.
them are now. It's like VoIP,
Yeah,
voice over internet protocol. Like we happen to have the
yeah.
UMA, but same
Oh,
type of
okay. Yeah.
like, and you can use any phone you want with that. It's we're actually using our very old like cordless phones from like I don't even know. I had them forever. We whipped them out when we got the landline back, and it's been really nice because a lot of kids get very distracted on even on FaceTime. They're not
Yeah.
really talking to the
Yeah.
person. They're then once they learn about the emojis and things, like that's all
I
they care
know.
about.
Mhm.
And it's really like nice to just have like my husband travels a lot for work, and so we have two cordless phones, and they can easily like my kids can call him and be they can't be too close or the feedback does.
I know. The sound.
But
Yeah.
they have to learn like how to say, "Hi, this is so and so. May I speak to?" Or
Yeah.
like they don't know. So I have a sheet on my website that you can print out where you can put everyone's phone numbers, and it has a prompt on the top of like what you say when you're speaking to family and what you say when it's a friend. And what I love is that I'm like my daughter is in kindergarten, but she has a really good friend. It's this adorable little boy who always calls to speak to her. And one night she was asleep, and like I got to talk to him, and he was like, "Oh, Emmy's asleep," and it was so cute. As this is what it was like for our parents and why we remember how close you would get with your friends' parents because you
Mhm.
Yeah.
did have to
You
talk
had
with
to talk to him. Yeah.
yes and I want that. I want to like know my kid like it's really beautiful and there's just a lot of things that we've lost that we didn't realize and that's why
Yeah.
we want to bring it back before like no one remembers these things you
Right.
know
Yeah, I was
like
even reading something from someone else about like, the all of those phones are great, but like the adults have to use them too
Mhm.
because otherwise it's like this is a kid phone. And
oh
then at
that's a
some
great
point
point
they're gonna be like, "Well, I don't want to have a kid phone. Like I don't want this to be a
yes
baby thing." And it was
because they
like,
want
"Yeah,
to do
that
whatever
makes
we do
total
that's a great
sense."
point
Yeah, and I
Mhm.
hadn't thought about that before.
yes
And it's
oh
not to, diss any of the like if you're doing this for your kid, it's a much better alternative than a
yes
phone.
Mhm.
But
And what I
it
love
was
is
a
being able
good
to
point.
leave, like I can leave my son home alone and know that he has
Yeah.
a phone to
Yeah.
call that is safe. I wouldn't leave both of them home alone at this point because I don't know what would happen then, but
I have a kindergartner as well, so yeah, I
yes,
understand that.
exactly.
Well,
Um,
and I've got a 1 year old, and this I want to do like I won't actually do this, but I want to do a research study on all the play phones that are currently on the market because the variety of like you still see some that like model a landline phone that you're picking up
Yes.
and saying hello. And then we recently inherited a delightful toy. She loves it. It's so cute, but it's literally a selfie phone. Like it's a mirror
Oh
and
my
it plays
gosh.
songs and like puts little
Oh,
filters on her, which is so cute. But it's like, okay, that's teaching you that
hmm.
phone
Yes.
is to take pictures of self and put on fun little
Right,
kitty cat ears and hear fun,
right.
So it's
Yes.
just,
How about the one with
yeah.
the like where you had to spin all the way around with the numbers?
Uh-huh.
Loved it.
Yeah. And no,
Still
I
have
mean, and
that.
what kid doesn't love that? What 1-year-old is not
Yeah.
fascinated by that? So it's just,
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But you had probably a real question, Jordan.
No, I love that. I love that.
This is just me thinking about all of her toys.
I know. I
Oh.
recently took out Lily had, and I think it was one of her Fisher Price toys, but it was like, oh, it's an iPhone. Like
Hmm.
they gave, has all the little stickers and the
Hmm.
squares. I'm like, I don't want her to look at this as like this is fun. Anyways, I did want to ask you about like what was what led up to or got you involved in testifying, and I said it in our
Yeah.
intro, and I want to make sure I say it right. Vermont House Commerce Committee. Like how did
Yes.
that all come about?
It was really exciting. I got an email from somebody that was writing the bill from Angela, and she had a group of people she wanted to show a variety of perspectives on this topic, and she thought that a teacher voice was really important, especially someone that was, aligned with our, similar interests at this philosophy. And she had known me from, I do so much stuff now that I don't even know initially how she had
Yeah.
found out about me, to be honest. And I love this bill because so
And
when
can you
you're a
talk
direct
a little bit
like
about like
yeah.
what the you don't have to go,
Yeah.
obviously into all
So
the
basically,
details, but
when
just
you're a director of technology, I think it is one of the hardest roles in a school
mm,
because you have to know teaching and education, which is one side, and you also have to know technology, which is changing at an insanely rapid rate, obviously. And
right.
there's a lot of things that you're in charge of, like all of the students' privacy and data, but then there's also knowing things for the school website and communications and whatnot. So and the amount of platforms that exist for students to use are like, it's insane how many there are. So for
Yeah.
an individual district to have that person in charge of vetting each product and keeping up with it is a pretty unrealistic goal, but that's basically what happened. So this bill was trying to create a committee that would be in charge of doing all that work and checking out every single product and making sure that it's safe, making sure that it's effective. Because remember, something can be safe and not effective, like then it's not
Hmm.
worth our students' time. Making sure that it follows all the privacy rules. And so the goal would be that a product would get vetted and it would fall at the expense of the product. If you want
Right.
to be on this list, which is wonderful because we don't need, public school districts having any more expenses. So they,
Yeah.
if you want to be considered, you would have to do all the legwork yourself to get on this list. And then basically there would be an approved list of products that are safe or effective and meet all the privacy rules. And I just thought that is so great because there are things that are just not as effective or not safe, and it's hard to keep up with. And I think that that would give a director of technology a lot more time back
Yeah.
to do like the
Yeah.
other millions of things that they do. And it's just really fascinating because if you also were to put a scale like that, you would just see how much is out there that is really just honestly, like I don't even want to say gamified learning. That is just games. That is just chat. That is just like there's just a lot of things out there that are not great.
Yeah.
And so I was really excited and I got to testify with people that have become like idols to me, like Dr. Jared Cooney Horvath, who wrote The Digital
Yeah.
Delusion. I love that book. And Emily Shirkin, the screen time consultant, and
Yeah.
all these people that were for internet safety labs. And it was just such an honor to testify. And I've seen it. I've seen it as a teacher. Like you like even like typing programs. Some of those have become so gamified that kids are using one finger because they want to get to the reward or they want the
Yeah.
badge or they want like they and it's funny because everybody talks about like, but it keeps them engaged. It keeps them engaged. What's the point of being engaged if you're not engaged in what you're supposed to be doing or learning? Like
Right.
we
Engagement
don't want
doesn't equal learning. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's funny. And then you'll find though that if you find a true typing program, and it is hard to find one that people really do like, you're not going to find kids being like, I really want to do this because it's learning and learning is hard. And
Yeah.
it may not be that exciting sometimes, and that's okay. Some things are
Yeah.
really exciting, but some things, are not. And I've always loved the think of it this way, like is a kid going to get addicted to an Excel spreadsheet or like using just a basic Word document? Probably not, but those are
Probably not.
skills they need.
Yeah.
And so it's just really telling sometimes when and Dr. Jarrett, he always talks about like the Oregon Trail, which I loved, but he's like,
Yes,
"What do you
same.
remember about the Oregon Trail?" And I'm like, "Well, I just remember my wagon wheel would come off and I get this into it." And I'm like,
My
I
ox
don't know.
died.
I'm like, I don't
Yes.
really know how much I actually remember about the actual Oregon Trail.
None. Zero. I just thought it
So
was a game.
yeah, if I was doing it for fun and it kind of had a connection to history, great. But if that
Yeah.
was intended to learn, I didn't really learn, and that totally comes from him, and I agree. I'm like, so that's
Yeah.
I don't know,
Makes
maybe other
total
people got
sense.
more out of it.
I mean, I
No,
think I
I
could
got
tell you an
zero out of
equal
it.
amount. I know as much about the Oregon Trail as I know about the Zumbini world, which I
Yeah.
don't that
Oh, I don't know
Did you
what
have
that is.
Zumbinis? Oh, we had
No.
Zumbinis at my
No.
school. And then my mom was the computer teacher at one of the other elementary schools, so I got to go over and play all of the games. And they had a few games at that school that we didn't have at my school, so
Oh. I remember
Oh,
Math
memorable, but
Blaster.
not
I played
educational.
that.
What?
Math Blaster. I
Oh
played that.
yeah,
I
we
remember
talked.
that in school.
what was that? What was Math Blaster?
Something with numbers. I don't know. I just remember like there was maybe a space helmet involved and you probably had to
Ah,
answer some math problems and then like float it up to the next
yeah.
level. I don't know. It
I
was
was with some
elementary school.
girlfriends last night and they were talking about Carmen San Diego. Do you remember that?
Where in
Yes,
the
where
world is?
in the
Oh my
world
Carmen
gosh.
is
San Diego.
Carmen San
I only remember the
Diego?
show. I didn't know it was a game.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was a game?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, I just knew the
apparently.
show.
Yes, apparently it was a game where they learned geography. And I'm like, I didn't
Oh,
know it was a
Sure
game.
did.
I did.
Yes.
You just taught me something new. I
Oh.
just
I
thought
know.
it
I,
was a
I kind of
show.
want to look it up and see because all these things exist somewhere still.
Yes, I'm sure they do. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so.
Um, well, my other question, since you've been doing lots of things, clearly, is what led up. And so I know the New York Times picked it up, but I don't know that I'm saying it right. Is it Hershinger or
The
Herchinger?
Hershinger report, yes.
Hershinger.
So
Yeah,
yes,
how did that all come about? Did a reporter
yeah.
reach
There
out
was
to you or kind of
yeah, there was a
what was that
journalist
process?
doing a story about people leaving public schools with due to screen time concerns in ed tech, and somehow her research brought her in our neck of the woods, and she spoke to a few people that said, you should really talk to Jill Anderson. She's this
Mm.
teacher. She's a mom. She started this collective, and so really, she asked me about the collective, and I told her, and I just said how it's so hard because teachers, like kind of what I said before, like we were thrown into this with COVID and things are changing so quickly. Like I remember being so proud to teach computer coding when Hour of Code came
Mm.
out. And that was
Mm.
like the big thing. And now we look at it and we're like, maybe kids should read and write before they learn code. And maybe
Mm.
no one's going to be writing code anymore with AI, but if they don't know how to talk to each other and persevere and like work
Mhm.
together, that's the problem. Like, and so now I laugh. I'm like, I was so like coding, and now I'm like, I don't really think early childhood needs to learn, coding one-to-one on a device, and I was just telling
Right.
her about the shifts in my own teaching. I told her how during the pandemic, Go Noodle, and I don't want to trash like a website or anything, but it got really popular. But then it became a habit. And I was like, why aren't all of my breaks on the computer? And so it just became this like personal goal of mine to stop doing that. And so that's probably one of the biggest things that I'm known for now is like my screen-free brain breaks. And I,
Hmm.
I started the year committing to doing one screen brain break a month. But like anything, once it's a habit, it's a habit. We don't even remember. Like I've only done one all year because
Wow.
like, and it's so that is like my favorite part. Well, actually, morning meeting is my favorite part of the day. But after morning meeting is our brain breaks, and every day, a different kid gets to pick what we're gonna do. Sometimes I do, and sometimes it's the mindfulness with the Yodo. Sometimes it's I use an agility ladder that you would have at a gym, and we do fun. Sometimes we just do it twice around the room, and then we get back to work. Sometimes I put multiples of different numbers in it, and we skip count or do multiplication facts. Like you can make it learning. But so basically I was just telling her that and she was like, I'd love to come and watch you teach. And so I said, okay. And so she flew in and she spent the day with my class and she got to visit my school. And she was really blown away by our resources because the school where I work provides every single teacher with a gigantic, robust lending library. So you
Wow.
not only take books home from the classroom and the school library, because when you read a book, you read it and you take it home and you continue and you bring it back and forth. And when you're done, you turn it in. And it's great to have obviously a library in every school, but like that isn't something you necessarily go visit every day. And even though libraries often are like, oh, you can come in the morning, the morning is hectic and the kids want to get to the room and unpack. So I love when classrooms have lending libraries. And every single day, I'm not even kidding, there is some sort of a delivery in our lobby for the teachers or the staff. So the day she was there, it happened to be our principal just felt like, it's been a really rough winter. We haven't had any outdoor recess. And she just sent us a survey. Every teacher got to fill out what indoor recess games do you want? Whatever you want, just check the box, add to your own. And so the day that the journalist came, the office was overflowing with board games and activities. And I was like, this is not a setup. Like, this is my school. Amazing. And I was like,
Yeah.
I know. And then later in the day, she sees me check my mailbox, and there's this book series that I'd never heard of with a note from the principal that we all got saying, oh, so and so teacher recommended this. We thought it would be great for everyone. And I'm so appreciative of like I've heard there are schools where like the teachers don't have access to photocopiers. I've heard there's schools where and that's really what she was telling me about because this piece focused nationally on schools and I'm like, oh my gosh, like there are schools that don't have Xerox paper or they'll limit how much a teacher can use or they don't have
Yeah.
printers anymore. And I'm so lucky because every teacher has a printer. We have Xerox machines that we can use whenever we want. We don't have to get approval for copies. I've
Mm.
heard that exists. We have no requirements whatsoever on a screen. Like there, I mean, we have access to a lot of platforms, but we also have a really robust curriculum that there's not really much time to use any of that, and
Yeah.
there's certainly not a requirement. Like I know there are schools that have required iReady, required Alexia, IXL. Like we don't have anything required, which I'm so grateful for. And so she just wanted, and then she interviewed a bunch of other wonderful teachers in my school. Jared Nash is an incredible third grade teacher who teaches ENL, and she walked into his room, and I mean, his room is like a Pinterest classroom, okay? It is gorgeous. It is so I can't even tell you. And it is beautiful. And she saw his library. And then she worked with another teacher who I don't know if you saw, there was like a little Instagram reel that she did of two classrooms. It was mine and Giovanna Alejandra's, and she is a bilingual teacher who teaches in both languages, Spanish and English. And she was showing all of her special like physical tools that she uses for her students, and just for her to see like this is sort of the norm here that we're very like best practices. Like we were able to kind of revert back to pre-COVID teaching
Mm.
really pretty seamlessly. And we also have an incredible director of technology who does a great job of making sure that like nothing is ever pushed on us. We're never told we have to. And I
Mm.
just feel really, really thankful to work in a place like that. And so she spent the day, and so she wanted to just feature. I have been teaching for 20 years, so I was here before. I started with the Visa markers and the overhead. Like, do you guys even know
Yeah.
what that is? It was like clear
Yeah.
plastic
Oh
you
yeah.
put on a big
100%.
box.
I had one at home. That was my favorite toy. We
Yeah.
got it from the district garage sale.
Oh my God.
Helen used to play school.
Used to,
Yeah.
still do,
That-
Still
yes.
do.
Oh my gosh. I recently found a book that I've kept all these years because it had like great math problems in it. And I found a post-it in it that said, overhead made of page, this, and this, need overhead for this. And I was like, oh my gosh,
That takes me
overhead.
back.
And so I
Funny.
just was really excited that she could feature our district in such a positive light of what we're of like some just great best practices and just want to remind everyone like we can kind of get back there like and it's not our fault that we went
Yeah.
so far one extreme and
Yeah.
and there's a lot of places where teachers are told you have to use this they I mean it's like it really stems from district leadership down. I
Yeah.
think, of what materials they're supplying, what resources, what they're requiring. And it's funny, we have a period, and this was one thing she featured a lot. we have a period called WIN. It's called What I Need. And that is a period when children that get extra help leave the room to meet with their service providers for like reading or math. And we, as a teacher, we meet in a small group. So small group instruction is essential. And we do large group and small group. And that's one of the times where I meet with a small group. But for the rest of the students, I used to let them use one-to-one devices to work on an ed tech platform while, some of the, because you don't want to do any new instruction at that
Mhm.
time because the whole class isn't there.
Right.
So for me, I was like, this is a great time for them to use that as a center, and then the group with me is not on a device. So this year I said, what if, and that was really the only time I ever kind of used it in the last few years, but I was like, what if I don't even do that? What if I just, so once again, I had a parent come visit in the beginning of the year who happens to love chess. My entire class knows how to play chess.
What?
Okay, spoiler
Really?
alert, I actually don't even remember the full rules, but he came, he taught the class, donated 2 chess sets. I bought a couple. I bought like there's actually learner chess sets you can get that tell you what the pieces do,
Mm.
and they've helped each other. So every day there's a group that leaves for services, there's a group that plays chess, there's a group that meets with me, there's a group that does physical math games. We're
Hmm.
back to that because why was I doing like the one-to-one math game, device math
Yeah.
games during that time
Yeah.
when it can be because remember, there's so much more to get out of a game than the content.
Mhm.
Learning how to share, take turns, not
Collaboration.
cheat.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's interesting is I have seen such a difference in student behavior because of how little screens I use.
Mm.
And
Really?
like I
Wow.
do feel like my class is really so there was one day when I let them and it was in the fall there was one period it was I think November where I let them use and they were just reading on a reading program but I had exhausted all of the physical books we were researching something so I let them and I remember they got like really rowdy and they got really loud in the hallway and my assistant principal was like like excuse me what's going on here and then he was like Miss Anderson's class and later I sent him a text I was like I just want you to know that you witnessed my class after their first full period on Chromebooks. And he was like, stop. I'm like,
Um,
yes. And now you know that I'm not biased because you saw it themselves. And so I don't even use, except for testing that must be done on a device.
yeah.
If, let's say we are researching a topic and we've exhausted the physical books, I will only do, I'm calling it 2-on-1. You and your
Mm.
partner will use one shared device. You have to hold each other accountable and work together, kind of like when I first started teaching and you had the big bulky desktop and kids would kind of work together. So I'm finding that that is a very different experience because they're still talking it out and they always have a clipboard and note paper. So I'm expecting them to still do something at the same time, but they're more likely to be on task when it's the
Yeah.
one. And honestly, even that I've done a handful of times because I'm just making more of an effort of getting more resources on the topics I need.
Mm.
And I can go to the public library. I can ask, my librarian's amazing. I'll just say, hey, I need books on this because I just think it's that much more valuable. And my headphones, we have not used once all year. There, and so that was one thing the journalist noticed. She's like, "Are those the headphones?" I'm like, "Yep, all the way in the back of the closet." I was like, "I actually don't have them from everyone. They didn't bring them in, and I didn't need them." Like, because to me, I don't need headphones because I don't know, we're not doing one-to-one.
Right.
And there is something to be said, of course, for like when you do like with younger kids and you do listening centers. And remember when we were little, we had the cassette tapes. So
Mm-hmm.
my dream is to write some sort of a grant where maybe I can get a bunch of Yodo MIDIs and I can kind of do make cards and
Yeah.
then have a listening center for certain books. If and have it be that because it's screen free and it's just more focused. Because the issue is they get distracted. Even whatever the device is, they go to another tab, they go to another window. And yes,
Yeah.
as teachers, we have access to software where we can see all of our kids' screens. But here's the deal. I'm either looking at that to look at their screens or I'm working with the kids at my back table.
Mhm.
So I can't do both. And it's just like I want to be focused on the kids that I'm focused on. And if they're off task with a piece of paper, that feels quite different than off task. Like they basically, it just makes more sense to do what I want of them than to sit there bored. Then if
Mhm.
you're with a device, you can just start clicking or changing the background or taking pictures. I mean, let me tell you, they'll find anything to do.
I know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that this is the best fit for everyone or every classroom, but I have just found it to be really rewarding and effective. And it's just wild. I'm like, I've gone full circle. Like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's, and I'm sure there'll be things down the road that will change. And I think the important thing is like, you do what works what you know is best based on the information you have available. And as
Hmm.
things change, you change like
Yeah.
anything else. And I think that like there's no pride. Like, we're here for kids. So it's okay to say, "Ooh, I did this and it didn't go well." Like, I mean, that's the nature of our job. We're constantly reflecting. We're actually graded on a rubric, and the one of the biggest parts is how you reflect on your lesson to improve for the future. And I've taken that so to heart that like while I'm teaching, sometimes I hear myself thinking, "Oh, next year I got to do it this way, I got to do it that way," and then I'll like write it in like the notes part of it. Like, and so I think that like we just need to be more like kind to ourselves, that like it's okay to change and our minds on something. It's okay to reflect. It's okay to say, I thought this was great, but maybe it's not, you know. And also every kid is different, you know.
Yeah.
You have to look at the situation.
Mhm. Wow.
So
Yeah.
What a beautiful illustration of your classroom. I
I
just feel like
know. I want to
I've been there. I
go.
want to be there. Yeah. And that to say you need to write your book. Whatever book is
um,
simmering, it
Yeah.
needs to be in the world because I want to read it and I think it's gonna expand that impact even further.
um,
And I just can't wait to see it and to read it.
oh, thank you.
But
Thank
before
you.
we wrap up, because we want to be mindful of time, is there
Yeah.
anything else you want to talk about, or anything else you want our listeners to know, or anything you wish we had asked you that you would like to talk about?
Yeah.
No, I really feel like you guys like hit everything, and I just wanted to say that like we're in this all together. It's not easy,
Mhm.
and we're gonna just keep learning and learn from each other, and it's okay. We're gonna make mistakes. I make mistakes. You make mistakes. We all, you know, and I just think that the more we can work together, the easier it'll be for all of us and for our kids. And like that's what's most important is our kids. They're everything, you know?
Yeah.
100%.
So where can people connect with you?
Oh,
Your
yes.
website, your I know your
Yes, I
Instagram.
have a mindfultechlessons.com website, and then I also do have Mindful Tech Lessons in Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I'm trying not to be on a lot of social media because
Yeah.
you know, but it
Yeah.
is an amazing thing for adults who have fully developed brains to use
There
to
it
connect
is.
and
Exactly.
and grab great ideas.
Yeah.
So, like you won't find me on TikTok or Snapchat, but no.
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
Same.
so,
Yes,
but yes,
also.
and I love to post little tips and ideas. And like I said, because I feel like I'm a curator of resources, you're not going to just find things that I've created or I've made. When I see something that I think is helpful and useful, I repost it, I share it, because there are so many amazing people doing this work. And I've been so honored to meet so many, from different types of parents to people that are authors to people that are, you know, out there advocating and testifying. So
Yeah.
you know, come out and learn about everyone.
It's really fun. I mean, it's hard, but it's fun to be part of this movement too, because it feels like, and we talked to Emily Churkin recently, and she even
Oh,
mentioned like things are things are changing. Like it
yeah, they
feels
are.
different than it did like even just a year ago. So the
Absolutely.
more these articles and testimony and all of these things come out, and just parents coming together and saying, I don't like what I'm seeing with this, and I think I want to make a change. Like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? And, talking to your schools and having that just open communication and not you're
Yeah.
doing it wrong and judgment. But
Yes.
I'm gonna,
Mhm.
quote Emily Durkin again, but replacing judgment with curiosity. That's something that she says that has just stuck
Yeah.
with me. Like,
Mhm.
I think that's so much more powerful than, coming at people in a, I can't believe you do this, like
Yes,
it,
exactly.
you
And we really do have so much to learn from each other. Like I don't know,
yeah,
like sometimes we'll have a faculty meeting in like a different colleague's classroom, and I'll just sit there and look around and think, wow, what a good idea. What a good idea. What a good, just looking
yeah,
in someone's room. That's one of the things, is it's such a fast-paced job that I don't think sometimes we have the time we need to like connect and share ideas. And that for me is one of the reasons I do love social media, is because I do love getting great ideas from other educators. And
yeah.
I'm often, because my algorithm is all like teaching
Yeah.
ideas, parenting ideas.
Yeah.
So I do love getting that. And I really do see a shift. I'm really excited to be a part of it. And this is what I want for my kids and their
Right.
friends and everyone's kids. Like this is, I want, I've seen a difference in kids. And that really inspired me when I saw the shift of kids over time. And I'm like, I want to get back to to where we were, you know?
Mm. Yeah.
And I do see a difference though, I have to say. I'm really starting to see a difference, locally and bigger. So
Yeah.
keep doing what you're doing. This is so great that you guys curate all this information for your listeners.
Yeah. It's been fun for us. I
It
mean,
is.
Yeah.
it's a great way for us to see each other regularly,
Yep.
but also
Oh,
Schedule a date with
just
your
have
friend.
these,
Yeah.
yeah, have
yes.
these conversations that we know that other people are having, and then hopefully introduce other, people like you doing this work, and that are thinking about these things too, and they're like, oh, she's talking about this, or she's doing this in her classroom. I think I could do that too.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
we hope that we're, contributing in a in a positive way. And I'm glad we
God,
got a
thank you
chance
guys so
to
much.
talk.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much for your
Have a
time
good
on a
rest of
Sunday
your night.
night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on a Sunday
I
night.
Take
know,
care.
right?
All
All right,
right.
have a good one. Bye,
Bye,
guys.
Jill.
Bye.
Wow. Gosh, she's doing so many
That was
things.
wonderful.
That
Yeah.
was wonderful. I
It's
want to be a third grade teacher now. I'm so
exactly. Honestly,
inspired.
that's what I was it's so rare to speak with someone who just speaks so positively from an
Yeah.
asset-based mindset of
Yeah.
just
And
the true
growth and
joys and purpose of
yeah.
teaching. Yes. And just I can't pretend like taking technology out of her classroom. Like that just
Yeah.
going
Well,
has to
her classroom's like its own little case study,
yeah, yeah.
having been in it for 20 years and then
Hmm.
like noticing, hey, I mean, even the example of the one day her
Hmm.
kids are all dysregulated and
Right.
she has to say to
Right.
the assistant principal, I used the Chromebook today. It's
Uh-huh.
like, oh, okay, there it is.
Yeah.
And you
Wild.
don't think about those things,
Mhm.
but the fact that her class is now used to, we don't use those screens in that way. And I like how she even talked about partner work.
2-to-1 device
Yeah,
use. I
doing
think
two to
that's
one so you can kind of
fascinating.
help keep each other
Yes.
accountable, because then one kid can be like, "Hey," I mean, they certainly still could get
Mhm.
distracted, obviously,
Of course, they're
but
kids.
if
They're
they're right, like
it is
they are
developmentally
designed that
appropriate.
way,
Yeah.
and the device is designed that way. But
Yes.
one of them,
Just
if they're trying to keep on track with stuff, could be like, "Would you knock it off and like
hmm
stop going on whatever, or
hmm
stop changing the background? Like I'm trying to write this
hmm
down." And so they
Yes,
can
they
help
keep each
hold
other
each
in
other
check.
accountable.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I'm
really, really
honestly thinking
cool.
about what that could look like in my college classes because like even tomorrow they're going to be in small group discussions where they've come prepared with questions for each other and notes on what they've listened to and everything. But I'm certain that unless I mean what I can do will say like no devices, you should have your notes as a hard copy in front of you. But I'm
Yeah.
thinking about like those times when devices are necessary and just like making that the
Partner up.
norm. There could be one, you know how
Yeah.
it's like a common teacher move of like assigning roles in the groups of one person is the recorder and one
Yes.
person is this. All
Yes.
right. And this person has the iPad. You can all use that one iPad to, tell her what to do on it. I don't know. I think that's
Yeah.
a really, really cool way to do that.
Yeah, a positive way to use
Mm,
technology. And I like that she said that, and I feel like I like to reiterate a lot that I personally I am not anti-technology.
mhm,
This whole movement isn't an anti-technology. It's tech intentional,
mhm,
and using it in a way that enhances learning and doesn't distract from,
mhm.
the true learning. And what a perfect example of that. And even she said like it might change,
Yeah.
like things can change over time. It's like, all right, I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah,
But what a neat,
exactly.
perspective to
Mm,
hear from someone who started out doing something and was so pro, using those different ed tech platforms, and like, oh yeah, because of the promise of what it could do,
mhm,
but then it didn't deliver. It's
mhm,
like, okay, well now I'm shifting. I'm I'm
mhm.
I'm trying something else.
Yeah.
So
No,
she does
that
so
was
many
a
things.
lot of joy. Yeah.
So many things. And I can just tell she's someone that always has another idea, like in the back of her
Yes.
mind, like, I'm
Yeah.
doing this next. Like,
Uh-huh.
I'm doing this
Uh-huh.
next. which I can
Absolutely.
relate to, but I think she has more ideas in her head than I do. But yeah, I big plug for mindfultechlessons.com. Great website. And I love her newsletter.
I need to subscribe. I saw the curated book lists are just like, oh, I
Yeah,
want
the
to,
book
because
lists
she's
are
got them for
awesome.
each age group. I want to read all the books
I
for
will
all the
forward
kids.
the last one, like the ones that I have,
Oh, thank you.
since I have subscribed,
Yes.
because I've gotten a lot out of that. I hope so.
Fabulous.
You don't have to be obviously in her community to
Hmm.
subscribe to her mindful tech lessons, and utilize her website. So super, super
Awesome.
cool
Thanks
what she does.
again.
And I
Thanks
didn't
for
even,
bringing yet another amazing person into
yeah,
our little conversation circle, Jordan.
yeah, glad to. That
You're
was
doing
really
such
fun.
good things.
Well, it's
Right.
nice to amplify voices of, other people that are doing this work. And what I like about what she's doing is she's literally in the classroom. Like,
Hmm.
it's not just someone, and that's not to diminish someone who's not in the classroom
100%.
anymore, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, she's boots on the ground, she's in there
Yes.
every day, and she's
Yes.
seeing hands-on what works, what doesn't,
Hmm.
and then can adjust in real time and
And
then
as a
talk about
parent
it.
and as a
Yeah, and as a,
community
a
advocate
mom,
and
and
yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like you said,
It's all
she wears a lot of
wears
hats.
a lot of hats.
Yeah, has a lot of
Yes.
perspectives.
With that,
Okay. I know. I was gonna say with that, it's raining
yeah,
so hard.
let's
I'm
not
looking
talk.
around the corner. I'm
Oh
very nervous
no.
that water is currently
Yeah, it's
coming
gonna.
into the
Mhm.
basement.
Well, the
Um,
good news is that by the time this is published, we'll be looking
it'll
back at
be,
like 70-degree temperatures again.
oh my
So
gosh,
we're just
what is
gonna
temperature
ignore the
anymore?
3 or so inches of snow that is,
I
yeah,
know.
currently raining, turning into snow, and
I'm
then.
not mentally able to
But
prepare for
hey,
that.
when you do touch that grass, and I'm not want to steal your thunder here,
Oh,
but
you
it's
can say it.
green. All of a sudden,
It
it was like
is. It
overnight.
is.
It
Yeah. We've got flowers growing in our garden, and
wild.
it's also highlighting all the weeds that I didn't take
Yeah.
out last fall. So
Yes.
good thing my dad is coming in town this week to
Ooh,
hang out for a bit while Brian's out of
excellent.
town. So maybe
Nice.
he can help me do some yard work.
Excellent.
Anyway, so wherever you are in the country, if it's snowing, raining, 30 degrees, 70 degrees, whatever it is, it could go from that 30 to 70 in a day, like it did here.
Like it.
Get outside, get some fresh air, touch the grass, whether you can see it or if it's covered in snow, doesn't matter. Just get outside for a
Wear
little
a
bit.
coat, don't wear a coat. Who knows?
Yeah, wear
Take layers.
shorts. I don't know. Bring a blanket, get some hot cocoa, something fun.
Galoshes.
Galoshes.
Anyways.
Yeah,
Well.
go outside.
And enjoy this podcast music by Brian Spickelmeyer. Jordan Spickelmeyer does our social media. Thanks again to Jill Anderson for being on today. I am Hella Plevka-Jones. I edit the audio, and we will catch you on the Flippity Flip.